What is happening, folks? Welcome to the Forge. I am back. I am off of my cruise. I've eaten all the food. I've eaten all the cookies, all the lobster. There's no more seafood in the ocean because now I'm back and I'm here in Knoxville, Tennessee with Billy the Kid and our guest today. So, Billy, introduce yourself and introduce our special guest.
What's up, folks? It's me, Billy the Kid. Nice to be here. So happy to have you back, Jimmy G. Totally missed you while you were away. Did my best to carry the fort. Hopefully, it came out all right. But tonight, we've got such a special guest. We've got Paul from Collecticon Toys. These guys are awesome. Paul runs a killer shop and with some great toys. So, Paul, without further ado, please introduce yourself. Tell us about what you do, what you're doing, and what we can expect from you.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for having me on. I've known both of you digitally for quite a while now, and it's nice to spend this time with you. My name is Paul, and yeah, I am the guy behind Collecticon Toys, has been for about 6 or 7 years. The good and the bad, it's all come from me. So, if you have any inkling of what I'm talking about, thank you for acknowledging. But yeah, I just decided to come on. You guys asked me to come, and I love talking Transformers.
Nice.
I sell them. I've been selling them for actually a long time, collecting them for 40 years, really, just in different levels of intensity, you could say. But pretty intense right now. This is my full-time thing, is actually been running this
Awesome.
store for the past year. Before, it was kind of a on and off again thing. And just since this might be a frame of reference for some people, I'm one of the founders of Ripped Apparel, which is a t-shirt company, a daily t-shirt company. And that's kind
cool.
of like, it was a ton of fun. Since have sold the company and moved on to other things. And that's near the end of that is when I started this. And very different business. I kind of wanted to compare them and see what I could do on my own. But if you ever bought a Transformers t-shirt from Ripped, most likely I had a lot to do with that. Maybe not everything, because they're all done by artists all across the world, but I did a lot of the art direction and like kit bashing, idea brashing some of the shirts. And we had a really strong Transformers presence. And when I still go to conventions now, because I do go to BotCon, TFCon, and a few and DairyCon regularly, it's still great. It still like warms my heart to just see dozens of shirts. Transformer shirts that were ripped.
That's good. I'm sure over the years I've had some of your shirts, even if it was just Nick saying, "Here, you need this." I'm sure I have. Really quick, I do need to jump in. Dark Honan automatically jumped on. Super excited that you're here. They found a rare Perfect Effect upgrade kit at your store. So that's just
a
so
Devastator
cool.
set, is my guess.
So cool. Excellent.
Thanks,
Awesome. Nice hat. Let me get that. But yeah, it's good to have you. I'm glad to finally put a face to the name, so to speak. And so, and it's been an interesting journey for me, meeting all sorts of new people and things like that. And so, hopefully, we'll get to kind of really meet in person at TFCon Chicago, which we'll be going to. Hopefully, knock on wood. Got the money, all that good stuff. I'll find my way there. OnlyFans will probably give me some. So there we go. But what we're going to do today is of course, we're going to talk about some products, some announcements, some in-hand images, things like that. But then we're going to get into the meat of it, which I'm going to get crucified for, is called the Endgame for all collectors. What is your Endgame? What is your goal? What is that is going to happen for you? And so that's kind of the thing for everybody, right? We either are character collectors or era collectors or certain things, whatever it may be. But is there an end game to it? So, but before we get into that, let's go ahead and bring up our slideshow. Do we like it with the overlay or no? Yes, no, yes, no. Camera one, camera two. So there we go. We'll just do it without for right now in this. And then, of course, Collecticon Toys, you can find them at collecticontoys.com, as well as a bunch of other areas, too, as well. Really, really, really cool to have you on here, Paul. So let's go through some news and products, and we'll start with Hasbro. And of course, we've got some early in-hand images of people starting to get Omega Prime, the HasLab. And so here's one, of course, of him together, of course, with Optimus and Ultra Magnus, as well as some other RID bots. Let me go on to the next slide so we can kind of see them all three together. So thoughts, did you back it? Did you not back it? Did you back it several? What are your thoughts on Omega Prime? Did we even actually need an Omega Prime? So do we actually need anything that we get, right?
So I always like to let the guest start off. So Paul, let's hear your thoughts because you guys probably aren't going to like mine.
Sure. I mean, I think this is an apt HasLab toy. I just wish it was a little more unique. Like I guess I just wanted it to be more cool than this. Which I mean, for most fans, I think this ticks the boxes. If you didn't have this or had it and it's broken, it's better to get this than try to get the vintage one, right? There's no. But it's so similar, like it's almost exact, like one for one. It has like maybe ankle tilts and stuff.
Yeah,
it just doesn't tires, right?
Sorry,
no rubber tires to crack this time, right?
Oh, I guess that's a bummer. I guess it's good and bad. Can we go back to the first slide quick? I had a thought on that. Like, if anything, what this shows me in this particular photo, the first one.
Go back one.
Uno mas.
Yeah, one more. Is just look at how many toys need to be redone.
Yeah, that's true.
Go along with that guy. And that's kind of more exciting to me than the Omega Prime itself.
Which is kind of cool because we are getting a Skybite, right? So
yep.
It's true.
So personally, I don't think this even needed to happen. I'm sorry. I don't. There's just not enough to justify the figure in regards to changes. And honestly, I think the smaller Prime in bot mode, that chest looks horrible. It's just spaced out poorly. And I understand it's probably to make things clamp in right. But I don't see any need for it. I did not back it. So, Paul, if you run a game, tag me. I'll play your game. But, I did not back this. It does like literally nothing for me.
Yeah. So I've never had Omega Prime. So
great figure. I imported mine from overseas before it was even coming to America.
Yeah,
and then Nick and I at BotCon 01 found them on the road to BotCon, driving down to Carolina, and then Nick sold them in the lobby to get money to spend at the con because he was just like, they were maybe $20. He sold them for like $50 or $75 a piece in the friggin' lobby. So awesome. Great. I have great memories of the figures, but I see no reason to buy this set. And I'm sorry. That's just
that's okay. To every person their own. I did back it. I will be getting it. I don't know if I'll keep it. I just want to try it out, play around with it, review it possibly, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But I've never had the RID, so that's, to me, it'll be a new thing. So it'll be seeing it from fresh eyes. So I'm kind of excited about it. Here it is next to Studio Series 86 with Prime. There's both of them there too as well. Just a few more shots there. Again, just from a scale standpoint, which you can kind of see there. And then here it is with some of the Deathsaurus HasLab, Menasor, as well as a few others. That's them apart, and there they are together. So you can kind of see from a scale standpoint what it's going to look like.
Wow, that gun robot is so big. It's too big.
That's awesome. And then, of course, the Walmart had their Collecticon or collection, whatever they want to call it. So we got these two bad boys that are coming. So any thoughts on them?
Awesome. I mean, they're just awesome. First off, Excellion is, if you know the history of all this, like Hot Shot is the amalgamation of Bumblebee and Hot Rod. And like, as they iterated him, this was like the first Hot Rod in a while. Well, I guess the Energon one came before this, but this looked really cool. And so it's nice to see this in America, because this was actually, a Japanese, Excellion's Japanese name and everything, which is confusing because I don't consider that other toy Sideways. That's Noise Maze, because Sideways is the motorcycle, but they just that's the name. But I think these are both slam dunks.
Absolutely.
Hasbro offering, these are right out of the park, man. These are fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely will probably be picking up. Here's the thing: I was trying to get out of most of Chug, but it's like The Godfather. Just when I'm trying to get out, it pulls me back in.
Chug will
And
always
so,
find a way to bring me back. There's always going to
yeah,
be one or two figures that I'm like, I need to fiddle with those.
yeah. I'm just so Excellion definitely. I will probably add to my collection. There's been a few other things that are not Transformers in that Walmart Collecticon, like the Berserk figure from McFarlane. Definitely want to add that too as well.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Are they actually calling him Excellion? That's fantastic. Sorry. I got cut off. We have the storm coming, that big storm that walloped everybody's coming. So I lost my internet for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's just we're going to probably see that up and down today, just with all that's happened. We just had ours, so we have high winds going on too as well. And then they did re-release these guys, Nova Prime and Nacelle. So if you did not pick those up, you do have your opportunity to get them. I do have them both. They are in my collection. But yeah, did y'all get them? Are you getting them? Are you not getting them? Are you selling them, Paul? Or
Well, the real question is, does Nacelle come with his mold upgrade or not? Because that's kind of the only question to be asked here, because that thing essentially got cut off from the knees. They kind of like destroyed the stock, or like stopped selling it.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Mine did have the old whatever penicillin with it. So,
yeah. It's combats cosmic rust. I mean, these are great. If you didn't get them, like the Nova Prime I sold out of that for a pretty scary amount of money. So it's good for fans that both of these are coming back out.
Yeah, it's a great. I liked Nova Prime. I really did. I thought it was a pretty cool figure. So
I actually did not buy them the first run, and I'm not buying them the second run. They don't speak to me. But I'm one of those guys. Like, I'm Gen 1, seasons 1 to 3. And then Beast Wars 1 to 3, and then I'm good. That's just me.
yeah. I love the obscure characters. That's kind of like where I kind of lean a little bit too as well. So, but we'll get into New Age, and Billy, we talked about this a little bit last week, but we'll go
this
into
is
a
my
little bit more because
favorite company out there. I can't wait to play with Dick. Right?
I mean, I love it.
Yeah, and then William, I can't go wrong with that. Come on. I've been waiting for the Lambros for so long with New Age, and Sunstreaker, I think, is damn near perfect. I think there were some design cues that they took with Sideswipe that maybe took the wrong turn. Those forearms are massive, and that chest is real small. I kind of liked the original renders that they had of the figure, but obviously something works better here than what did before, or they wouldn't have thrown them out the window. All in all, I think they're going to go great in the collection, and I'm really looking forward to having both.
Now, Paul, do you sell third party?
Not a lot, but I mean, my favorite third party company is New Age for sure. Like, they make some incredible engineering decision, or I don't know how to actually put it, but like each one of the toys that I've played with has been like a marvel. Like how did this get created? Who's the genius behind this, and why aren't they like working for the real toy company?
I couldn't agree more with you there, Paul. If we leave it on this frame for a second, I find it hilarious that Sideswipe's jetpack, this is the only version of the jetpack with wings, right? He's got the hot rod wings on there. And that was only, I think, 1 or 2 frames in one of the first episodes of Transformers Season 1, where he had these wings accidentally drawn in. They weren't there when Prime was flying with them. They were just this little split second, and New Age went ahead and threw those wings in there. The MP versions don't have these wings. I think Magic Square did one too. Those wings weren't included either. And I just think it's really cool that they threw that little detail in there.
Yeah. And you could already hear all the dick jokes coming for those reviews.
Oh, the dick jokes are going through the chat. I can't even control it. But aside from the dick jokes, Darkonin states Magic Square needs to redo their Sideswipe. I'll buy that. That Sideswipe, they need to completely revisit the mold. We need a new sculpt. that figure's so outdated. I can't wait to get him out of my shelf.
I would
Period.
agree with that. I did have the repainted version of it, and it was okay. I am. This is one on the new age side. I will be grabbing. I'll be grabbing my Dick and my William. So we'll be definitely. This is gonna be. The
I
reviews are
can't
gonna
wait
be.
for that review. Now that I'm
Yeah.
like clean and don't curse anymore, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have so much fun with this. I don't know. It might be the longest review I ever do. I might
You
have to
need.
take like Aqua Teen Hunger Force quotes from the Dickisode with like Carl was like, someone's gonna cut your dick off. Like I think that's where I'm going with this.
I
Oh
think
shit.
you need to have a tally of that's what she said lines.
Yeah.
So,
Wacky Jackie, what's up, sis? Guys, that's my sister. She's a pro Fortnite gamer. So subscribe and follow her at Wacky Jackie. She's a beast. There's no other way to put it. Magic Square's stuff got way better, if this will ever load, starting with Hound. Yeah, their Hound was great. They even listened to the fans and revisited the design prior to releasing it to make it work a little bit better. Their Hound is fantastic, really good.
Very cool. And so Laser Cat, one of my new.
There's so many comments in there. I can't do it, guys. I love you all, but I just can't. Yes, it will be my longest Dick video.
There we go. Awesome.
And yeah, I like MP Sideswipe. I had a lot of fun with that figure. I think that figure is one of the it was one of my favorite MPs. MP Sideswipe. It was so
I'd
easy
like to get the DX9. I haven't gotten that one yet, but I do want to get that one in.
DX9's beautiful. It's beautiful, but I'm just thinking of like the back and forth transformation, like the fun I had with the MP Sideswipe, especially with how early it came out. You can't go wrong with that. Back to Laser Cat. Let's do it.
Laser Cat, one of my new favorite companies, got the Predaking. Still got to review the Predaking, but they are, as they promised, coming out with their Volcanicus, and it is freaking cute. And so there it is in combined mode. And then here it is in its individual bot modes. Has the same kind of chubby looking faces and things like that too. But look at that Grimlock. It is just gorgeous. He's just precious. And he's just one of those things that it's just going to be fun. I don't know why I'm a sucker for the chibi style, but I do like some of that chibi kind of Japanese cute style figures. But this will probably be getting into my collection. So what about you, Paul? What do you think?
It's the first time I've ever seen this. I mean, I don't stay up with the third party stuff like some people do. So this is the first time I've seen it. I mean, it is cute. It's nice to see something that is not just the same thing.
Yeah, this is the Predaking box. I love the Last Supper, what they do on there.
It's worth buying just for the box, man.
Missing a few disciples there.
That's it. One of you will betray me. Is it me, Master? Anyways, Billy, what do you think? I know you're not going to get these, but you do think they're gorgeous, don't you?
I actually really like the individual bot modes. I think they're rad. I do not think the Dinobots should ever combine. The Dinobots are badass as individual bots and do not need to combine. So Volcanicus can sleep on it. I don't care. It's not my bag, though. It's not my thing.
I think you're an old man yelling at a cloud. Is that what I hear?
Get off my yard!
Point, counterpoint. There we go.
I love
Jan,
it.
you ignorant slut. All right, so anyway. So we're going to go with TFC Toys and Craftsman Toys. And is it Satan? Yes, it is, folks. Here it is. Look, we're SNL jokes dropping left and right. But Abominus by this company. Is this the Legends scale version or?
I can't tell because there's no individual bot mode. So I can't look at the little hands and find out. Craftsman Toys, to me, they're Legends.
Because
they're making Legends on this. And they've shown the grayscale photos. I'm praying this is their Legend scale Abominus because I'm so in on everything about this. The colors, the sculpt, it is dead on. I love it. I don't know though if it's Legends or Chug or Masterpiece. I have no clue.
I mean, those look like about 6-inch robot modes to me.
Yeah.
Just with like looking at how intricate some of the panels and stuff are.
I think I got a closer shot. There we go. Of the top part there.
Yeah, but Paul, did you mess with their nose cone?
No, again, like this is totally Greek to me, but I thought this was Orden when I first saw it, which that's how far back I go with third party stuff.
That was was that TFC as well? There.
That was. Didn't they start with a U? Unique Toys.
Toys?
Yeah, Unique Toys. Yeah.
See, the other thing is,
those were big boys. Those were not small.
There's quite a bit of translucent plastic here. If you look on, I don't remember their individual bot names, but on these arms, on their shoulders, you can see that. And they were using a lot of that with nose cone and the rest of the Technobots.
You have your nose cone handy?
Hold on.
See, in this photo, you can see a pin in that like foot that's part of his backpack.
Yep.
That's the closest you can get to like a scale.
Yeah, but I mean, there's the articulation and the design that went into these little Legends figures for their Computron. I mean, these are mini masterpieces. They're so clean. They're so well done. And again, there's this clear plastic, which goes in line to me with what we're seeing in that Abominus.
Okay, so that's a Legend scale. I mean, that looks like a deluxe size figure to me.
This is a Legend scaled figure. This guy's 3.5 inches, 4 inches max. And I mean, he scales just fine to me with either New Age or Magic Square. But I always saw the Technobots as a little bit bigger. Anything season 3, I always saw as bigger than seasons 1 and 2. Those robots are just grander to me. All those Cybertronian modes. So I think this is Legends. But I mean, if anybody in the comments knows, I'd love your, to jump in. But I really think this is their follow-up Legends figure.
Maybe ask TM Reviews. He might know.
You know who I should ask? I'm gonna ask Ryan. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing it right now.
Go. While you do that, we'll move into Fans Hobby, and we showed this off last week, and I just wanted to show it off again because I just really love what they're doing here. Super God Master Force, I started watching it. It's a slow burn, but I really did enjoy the series, and now we're getting Metal Hawk. I mean, we've had their Power Baser, which is their God Ginrai. We've also had Double Evil, which is their Overlord, Minerva, all this. Now we're getting finally closer to the Pretenders here. And so here's the front view, the back view. We'll go ahead and show the alt mode, but the mode I really want to show is the shell on mode. So Paul, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because you said this is about as close as we're getting right now.
Well, this is as close to the dream of new Pretenders, that I've seen. We've seen it sort of like we've seen the concept of Pretenders navigated in a variety of ways, none of which are doing what they should be doing, which is make an articulated shell guy and an articulated robot that doesn't suck balls, like that goes inside of it somehow. That's a big ask. All right. Let's a lot
of engineering, and Hasbro's not going to do it.
This is why no one's doing it. That's why we got little Prime Masters. That's why we got deluxes that are like half robot, half Pretender. But this is the first time they've tried the clip-on parts, which is an option that has not really been, worked towards in Transformers. So I give it that. I give it that they're going into territory that no one has dared to go.
Yeah, I'd love to see a working model to see how well those shells stay on while you're playing with it or whatever. So that way, and how much. I mean, this is the dream, right? I mean, this is the renders and stuff like that. But renders in real life are two different things.
Amen.
And especially when you got to do form and function, right? So this has got to be a functional transformer as well as look good. And this is Fans. If anyone can do it, Fans Hobby could. I mean, they do make a good. You could tell they love like Super God Master Force, because that's kind of where they're at. And of course, now they're into Armada and Energon, getting into some other stuff too as well. But I am definitely looking forward to this. Billy, what are your thoughts on good old Metal Hawk here?
I love Fans Hobby. As a third-party company, they've have not let me down. And anytime they've had issues, they've rectified them and sent out the pieces to make it work. So this company as a whole always gets a plus from me, like a thumbs up. We're good. I think it's super cool that they're bringing in pretenders and finding a way to make it work. The snap-on parts are just fine. I love that they managed to make the feet angled. If you can go back one frame, look at the way like the shins go down to the feet in this mode. It looks like an anime drawing. I think it's really nice. It's really slick, and it completely works. So I dig it.
Yep.
Make
I
it
want to
nice
see
and
it.
scale, and I'll buy it.
I want to see it. Preaches by the mile, but lives by the inch. So let's see what Fans Hobby does with that. So, and then of course, Fans Hobby also just released their prototype of their G2 Megatron. So they are hopping into the G2 world. Here is just the green. I wish I had the video because they did show that the tracks actually do roll.
Yes, I saw that.
Is a big plus there. I mean, everyone wants rolling tracks Meggies there. So, Paul, any thoughts? Was G2 Megatron one of your favorites? Was he? I know I always loved the gun, but I mean, if anything that made sense was Megatron being a tank or a bomber, you know. So,
yeah, this looks pretty good, man. You know, that's a good. I haven't seen that mold like articulated like this, and sure, I'm sick of tank Megatrons for the past 5 years, but this one looks pretty dang good.
But almost M1 Abrams, you know.
I mean,
that looks.
If this comes as an accurate representation of the Gen 2 Megs in masterpiece form, I think that's awesome. Like, yeah, we've had tank Megatrons, but everybody trying to do a tank that looks like Gen 1 Megs and not hitting this properly. I think it's great. I'm not buying it, but if someone did the animated Megatron, which is my favorite Megatron design, I would absolutely buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I would probably get this just because I love that. I love the way the tank looks. I just love how that tank looks.
Oh, I'm just looking at the robot mode. I mean, I'm just like, holy cow, that's how it should have been.
Yes.
You know, I haven't gotten a Fans Hobby release since I don't even remember his name, but the Nemesis Prime.
Yep.
You know, and that was an early one, and like I might get this. You know, we'll see.
There we go.
It looks pretty good. I get like one third-party toy every 5 years, so
we got to fix that.
Is it that time? Has it been 5 years?
Not that time.
If that head sculpt's on, I'd probably grab it.
Oh, yeah.
Ocular Max, man. These guys are one of my favorite third-party producers. Just so you know. What
Autocorrect saying here. This looks good as a glow in the dark. There we go.
That'd be a fun, exclusive, like a Collecticon Toys exclusive, glow in the dark Gen 2 Megatron. Yeah. He says no.
Yeah.
So we have a Devastator from Fans Toys. We have a Devastator from X Transbots. We have Studio making one. We also have Dreamstar Toys. We've got Mecha Invasion. And of course, Ocular Max says, hey, here we go with ours. One of the interesting things that was pointed out, this is not a parts forming Devastator. So like these are all built in to him. So really love the look of the bot mode here on this. And I know this is just a digital render, but they had the prototype at Baltimore, I believe, right? The Devastator at Toy Dojo's.
Yes, PAX Table.
Yeah,
had this and their Bruticus.
Yeah, and so there's the back of the bot and the back of the alt mode and the back of the arm mode, and then of course there is the all-in-one combiner. So let's hear it. Do we, is this too many Devastators? Is this the Devastator to get? I know there's Fans Toys loyalists. They're like Fans Toys all the way. Then there's people like, I mean, there's the factions are fighting now. And so we want to see kind of which one goes. I like MMC. I've always liked their stuff. I thought they do some pretty good stuff. And I'm actually digging this one. And it's probably going to be cheaper than Fans Toys.
Yeah. MMC's never let me down, ever. Like their Springer, their MP scaled Springer is probably my favorite Springer figure I've ever messed with. Their RC knocked Takara's out of the water. Same thing, knocked Fans Toys out of the water. This is beautiful. I mean, it's tune accurate. It's chunky. Kind of reminds me of the Magic Square one, to be honest. But how many Devastators do you need? Like, everybody's doing Devastator. I don't know. No, Norbs, this is Masterpiece scaled. This company is all in on Masterpiece. So MMC loyalist here, like, he gets it. These guys, they knock it out of the park. I will say, though, they do everything is usually designed off of Studio Ox artwork, and I don't see Studio Ox here.
Yeah.
So
well, what's interesting is they go to point out this is all built in. That's their big thing. All built in. No,
and that's great
shell,
if
no
the
nothing.
connection ports work. Right? What if it, you go in, you put it together, you combine it, it's all in one, and one tab breaks, and now you're screwed. Right? Like,
so you got Civil War Devastator who's missing a leg,
Don't
on
break
the
your
side of the
toys.
streets for Energon. But I mean, this is, I like it. Paul, what do you think? I know Studio Transformers, the Hasbro Studio is right around the corner. So
I wouldn't even compare this stuff. I mean, I'll just comment on the, like, are there too many Devastators? This is not the first. This is Devastator World War III. Okay, we've already been through this multiple times. There's never enough Devastators, apparently. All right, so don't worry about it. I'm actually selling. I'm sourcing the Fans Toys one, and I'm not doing the other ones. So I'm going with that for now. And this is different. This is it's great to have these alternatives, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's great to live in a world where we can have more than one Devastator.
Yeah. It's cool to hear that this is like solid, like no parts forming. I mean, I that's always interesting. Like that's a difficult nut to crack. But you can see where they did some of the gimmies. Look at how like stubby those treads are on the shoulder bots or the arm bots. Which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, oh my God, they need to be a different length. But that is just most of the times they aren't like that proportion. Usually they're a little longer, and they, like with the Combiner Wars one, they're like twice that length. So anyways, that's compromises I notice from looking at it. But
compromises must be made.
I mean, I'll give them credit. I love them. I love them as a company. I can see it being fun. I can see it being successful. It's just Fans Toys is knocking theirs out right now, and Fans Toys is the undocumented king of third-party Transformers. Their loyalists are not going to run out and grab this.
No, I agree, but your MMC loyalists will. And I tell you what, though, I've actually liked the Mecha Invasion. We showed that off last week, and because that's almost done, and that Mecha Invasion one looks nice, beefy, and chunky, and I'm kind of digging that one. So let's go on to Balin Toys, and this is interesting, and we're going back to good old Bayverse Prime here.
Yes.
So, but he's legend scale, Billy.
Yes.
He's legend scale. There he is next to Shasta. I don't know. But
Fago.
But here he is. It's full legend scale, fully posable.
I got doused in Fago at an ICP concert. I had to do it.
So this is little. This is
not.
This
is tiny.
Yep. Yeah, this is small. I'm just amazed at the engineering in it.
That's what I was going to say. I'll give them credit for pulling it off at a legend scale, right? I mean, it works. It looks great. But do we really need more Bayverse Primes? I don't know. I'm so past it.
Dude, the cold front hasn't even reached us yet for the storm of Bayverse stuff we're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like we're gonna be drenched.
No, I get it. They're coming into the age of spending money. The kids that grew up with it, like I get it, but
it's their prime. It's their prime. Just like episodes 1, 2, and 3 are their Star Wars, or their Batman is Christian Bale. Those type.
Where's Rachel?
Where is he?
If it doesn't already exist, there's going to be Bayverse memes, subreddit where they just take over and kill the G1ers.
I know.
All the babies are gonna outlive us.
That's it. That's it. There's me. Okay, boomer. All right. So, but of
I'm
course,
not a boomer. I care about the future for my children.
that's it. I'm a Gen Xer, dag nabbit. But TFCon Chicago, just putting this out there. Tickets are live. They are on sale now. If you haven't booked your hotel for the convention, they do have convention rates. I think this year, one of the things I learned at staying with Baltimore, we stayed off property. I think I really want to stay on property this time because, I mean, all the rooms were sold out by the time we were looking at it. And then, so we were about half a block down. But you kind of miss a lot. It's kind of like, well, I got to walk to my hotel and hope I don't get shanked in the middle of downtown Baltimore. But I think Chicago, I'm probably going to stay there. But exciting you now, Paul. You're going to have a booth there, right?
Yeah. Well, just let me be clear. It's not really Chicago. It's Rosemont. So you don't need to worry about getting shanked out there. Although
it's not downtown Baltimore.
Yeah, although, October, that's 6 months from now. That's half a year. The world could be a different place October 24th, So right now, you don't have to worry about getting shanked in the middle of Rosemont. Hey, will I be there? Yeah, I got 10 tables, so I'll be there.
10 friggin' tables.
Damn,
Damn.
You will see me. However, this is the strategy here. I know a bunch of friends in Chicago, and so we get a big group of tables so that we can be together. Because otherwise, if you all order separately, it's like, oh, TFCon doesn't care to put you together.
So that's how you pulled that off.
Yeah. So if you were at Baltimore, me and some friends, we got about 6 tables. We got a whole row, and that was super awesome. Because if you've ever been a seller, it's just so much more fun when you're with your friends. It just is. And so if you have seller friends, you can all just kind of party the whole time. And but this year I'm looking to make kind of a bigger splash than usual with Collecticon Toys, which I've been at Baltimore the past 2 years, and I've been at BotCon last year. And
you doing BotCon this year?
I won't because of the scheduling. The Father's Day thing is a no-go for me. So, but I will be there. I'm going to go and enjoy the show because I love BotCon, the original thing, and I used to go to those a lot. But that point being said, I will be at TFCon, and I'm hoping to be noticed, let's say, this time, instead of kind of just being there. So look out for me. I might even have my own exclusives.
What?
I love hearing that.
We'll see.
Jimmy and I might have to review some exclusive figures before the con.
If there's, these are made by me, so there aren't a lot to go around.
I love that. I love that.
That's it. If I had Sarah McLaughlin video and I could put you up here and sing "In the Arms of an Angel," we'll make sure you get supported.
Sure.
All the way. So.
We'll figure that out. We'll work on that. With pictures of the toys, we should get pictures of you hand painting the toys with the song going.
Yeah, for only 30 cents a day, you too can.
You could have a handcrafted.
You can have a hand painted blocky. Yeah,
I love that.
So about TFCon, I would agree with you. If you, why would you not want to stay on the premises? If you can, do it. If you've never done it before and you want to. I hate to hear oh, I wish we stayed at the hotel because that's where the action is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fun.
We stayed at the hotel in Baltimore and hung out with Paul and a bunch of other people at all the different rooms, and it was great. You have the room sales, you have the room parties. It's just such a good time, man. You get to I don't know. I was in the elevator with Aaron Archer, and we got stuck just BSing because you're in the elevator and you're saying, "Listen, I grew up with your designs. I love your work," and it just goes into so much. And I checked in with Bob Budiansky. It's just a cool experience, man. There's really nothing like it. So you should definitely stay in the main hotel with us.
I'm definitely going to be there this time in the main hotel. It was when it was in Orlando, it seemed a little bit more spread out. I was there at the whatever that was, it the DoubleTree or Hilton Garden? I don't remember what it was, but it was just all one single level. So I didn't really hang out in the lobby or anything. That was my first TF con, and that was like I was just a little YouTuber. I think I had like 100 subscribers, and so I was just a little guy. I'm an introvert at heart, so if you really saw me, I just don't like talking to people as much. I'll be friendly, I'll be kind, I'll be happy, but it does take a lot of energy to do that. But this next one, when I was at Baltimore, I didn't realize, man, people selling stuff out in the open. I saw the signs that says no selling, and it was just like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that was a strange happenstance. I've never seen that before, where it's just like sales. It's like a store. It's like a sales floor in the lobby. Like that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. That's crazy.
It was the sales before the sales.
Yeah.
Well, the room sales used to be huge. Like at BotCon, that was like the whole, like once the show floor ended, it was like, okay, now it's after hours the whole rest of the night. Like you could be up till 4 a.m. buying and selling stuff in people's rooms. But things have changed in the past few years where like you need to have a room key to get on a specific floor.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. Certain hotels just make it harder. It used to be awesome where there'd be a billboard and you just read it and like, oh, room 109, room 120. Let's go to the first floor and let's hit all the rooms. It was great.
Yeah.
And you could actually be a vendor. And I did this. One year I couldn't sell at Reston. I couldn't sell. I decided I wanted to go and it was too late to get a table. All right. So I just went and I got a room and I sold stuff out of my room and made a killing just out of my room on Saturday. And I was like, wow, this is great. I can't wait to, actually have a thing on the floor. But since that, the room sales have really died down. And I think it's because of the hotel culture and the safety thing,
yeah. COVID. Damn COVID.
COVID probably changed all that quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's for the better, but like for this really unique case that like only our fandoms like ours are used to, it's kind of dwindling. But that lobby sales thing was awesome. And I didn't partake. I just heard about it. I thought it was cool, and I thought it was so funny that they put that sign out saying no selling in the lobby because the hotel's like, what is going on?
It was great. It's funny. They were set up right by the bar area, so people are getting a little drunk, and then they're coming down and like, oh, I like that toy.
That's it. That's it. It's so funny. Like I think there was a dude selling next to the no selling sign.
Yeah, right next to it. Right next to it. Absolutely. So I was talking to Matthew Baldwin.
I've got to try the room sales. I got to break that old, training that my parents said, do not go into other strangers' rooms that are offering toys and candy and stuff like that. So, but oh well, I'm
just go with a buddy. I mean, that's the best. that's honestly like.
Buddy
if you've never done it, bring someone with you. Just like
it's like I don't take cash. I take favors for what you're going to buy here.
Well, there's some rooms that sell some interesting toys.
Now, but I digress. We're not here to talk about conventions or anything like that. We're here to talk about Endgame, and it's not the Marvel movie. So we're here to talk about being a collector and the Endgame with it. So Billy, I'm going to let you kind of lead this off, and we'll go through it. I am ready to get destroyed because again, I am an ADD kid that and one of the things I've learned is you just can't buy everything just because you will be out of money, you will be poor and destitute,
especially in these times, right? Like,
yes,
I think like
the hard part though is box art draws me in, and that's on purpose, right? That is on purpose. They said Jimmy G shiny things, that's the way to go.
Honestly, I wasn't going to buy that Predaking set until you showed me the box art. Now I'm like, I got some store credit at showzstore.com. Use my reviewer code BTK, and I'm like, maybe I'll grab that. But so ultimately, Endgame, like, what are we thinking? Like, what is your reasoning for collecting? Do you collect because you're a completist and you just have to have it all? Or do you collect because you've got a memory from childhood of something that, I'd love to have that one more time and I'll call it a day when that's over. Like me as a collector, my end game's simple. I want Transformers Generation 1, seasons 1 through 3, right? And then I want Beast Wars 1 through 3, and I'm going to call it a day once I have the best representations of those characters. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say there's always new representations of these characters. But I started as a Gen 1 collector child, moved up to the Chugs, then got into Masterpiece, got into third party, and I sold all that off and fell in love with this legend scale, these smaller figures that give me space, most importantly, but they work on a masterpiece level at a small scale, and they're just fun to play with. I just grabbed the masterpiece scaled Magic Square Prime, reviewed him, played with him, and I still prefer the Magic Square Legends Prime. It's just something about that size that gives me the freedom of play. My end game is to wrap up all 3 seasons of Gen 1 and then be done. I'm not buying toys anymore. I'm going to start building. I want to build a one-of-a-kind room with I'm going to call it a train table, displayed out in this beautiful sci-fi battle zone. And that's it. Think of the attic in Beetlejuice, right? You watch Beetlejuice, you got that attic. I'm going to have that, but with my Transformers. And it will ultimately turn into bringing this, sharing it with my son, moving the collection onto him, and enjoying watching him grow up with the figures I love. So my end game is actually coming soon. I think I only need about 23 figures, and I'm done.
But then what? That's the thing. Paul,
Now,
you don't
lie.
Paul, what do you got to say? I've seen you shaking your heads. I see you. See
Well, first off, I like it, Billy. Like my collection goals are simple, and you rattle off like a 20-line list of things that make it not simple. so kudos to that. But that's the thing; these things are not simple, and sometimes when I meet new notable people in the collector sphere, which doesn't happen all the time, but like. There was one guy I was hanging out with at San Diego, and I was just like, hey, so what are you've been doing this forever. What's your collection goal? And he's like, my what? And I'm like, what are you doing this for? Like, what is your plan? You've been doing this for 30 years. And he's like, I don't know. No one's ever asked me. And I was like, what? Like, this is the most important thing to not drive yourself batty. So I think it is important to have something in mind, because the baseline level, when you get into this, the baseline without any caveats is, I need it all.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's the standard. Look at the catalog. Oh, we got everything in the catalog. I want this from the 80s. Oh, there's another one from the next year. I need all that. That's the unsaid, like, whisper in your ear, like, yeah, you want it all, don't you? You must have it all. You don't need it all, and you shouldn't. And so if you don't need it all, you need to decide what you do need. And that there comes in like your funnel, your checklist of like check boxes that if anything covers these check boxes, this is what you need in your collection to complete that. And so you had mentioned character collecting, James, and that is kind of my default, like de facto, like go to, like with creating when someone gets that look in their eyes, you're like, well, what do I do when I'm having this conversation with them? And believe it or not, it's happened multiple times. It's like you got to sort of like steer them in a direction. And so I'll be like, well, who's your favorite character? Who is it? And let's hope it's not Optimus Prime, because like that doesn't help if that's who your favorite character is. But like it can come down to, it can be as nuanced, it can be as broad or narrow as you want. And I'm just going to talk about character collecting for a while. So like you could collect Bumblebee, or you could say, I want B127. I want Badassatron, and that's it. So as of right now, if you like TF1 a lot, you don't have to get a lot of toys to complete the TF1 B127 collection. Now, once you complete that, though, that is the bar is low. It's like maybe like a dozen figures, some of them crappy that you probably don't actually want, but that's how collecting is. You would most likely, if someone completes that pretty low bar collection, they will suddenly be like, well, I want more Bs. Now I want all the movie Bs. That would be, a pretty big level up of like difficulty to complete, And then it's like, are you talking about, do you want mint and sealed box ones, or do you just want the loose toy? And then if you want the loose toys, do you need one in every mode? You're like, I've heard, I'm only bringing these things up because they're real for some people.
Absolutely.
They certainly are. And not for everyone though. Just because someone's a mint and sealed box collector, you should not degrade them, and you shouldn't feel like you have to compete with them, because that
Amen.
is their own choice. But if you do sell toys, you have to understand why the mint and sealed box one is worth $5,000 and the piece of crap one that you spit on and is missing pieces is worth 15. Like there's a difference there.
Amen to that.
So my collection goals, or my rules, if you will, my goal is to have every Starscream toy sealed, mint and sealed box. Okay. Yeah, and it can get a lot more nuanced than that. But I'm almost there. I'm almost done, baby.
Are you talking even like unreleased Starscreams too, like that Starscream set from Gen 2 with
you mean the thing behind me?
Yeah. Okay.
Right
Just
there.
making sure.
That thing. that counts. Because Starscream's in it. Megatron's in it too. Whoever that guy is, but like Starscream's in it, so it matters. And so with character collecting specifically, I always say, like, figure out why you like a character. Like maybe you like Blitzwing, because he's pretty cool. He's a triple changer. He's like purple and tan most of the time. That's a decent. There's a lot of Blitzwing toys, right?
Absolutely.
And some of them are really cool. And it's kind of it'd be a cool collection to get to like do the whole thing. And it's not super duper hard. There's not a ton of like, there's not like a lot of $1,000 Blitzwing toys. If I can think of anything, the hardest thing for Blitzwing is probably the 3-0 like G1 colored Bumblebee movie Blitzwing.
Yeah.
That's probably the most expensive Blitzwing toy out there. I could be wrong, but
my favorite rendition of Blitzwing is from Animated. I loved just the multiple personalities, like friggin' amazing. I will be honest, I am a character collector for Hot Rod because I love the Rodimus Prime character. The fact that we have this guy that second guesses himself, and I felt like he taught you so much, the character. And Cyclonus. I'm a huge Cyclonus mark. Love him. So
those are both good. There's some really expensive Hot Rod toys, and there's some decently expensive Cyclonus toys. It just depends on like how much do you care about blue versus purple ears and Target Master guns and like blah blah blah. But I'm bringing this up because character collecting is like a pretty easy thing to like put horse blinders on.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm only going for things that say Thundercracker on the box, and then you can even be like, well, I only want the blue ones. I only want the blue Thundercrackers. Yeah. Like you can make those choices. And some other person that collects Thundercracker and is a more expansive like rule set than you might try to belittle you and be like, well, I have the Galaxy Force Thundercracker and you don't. It's like whatever. Like let that person be an asshole. Like do what you want to do. But I always think it's better to have an idea what you're doing going in, because I see it all the time, especially on like the subreddit, the Transformers subreddit, which is, skews younger than us. So there's a lot of people like getting into it for the first time and stuff. And they just like show a shelf of their toys and it's a hodgepodge of stuff because they have no direction on what there's Transformer. Oh, I have $12. I'm at a toy show. I'm just going to buy that. And they don't even know, like they're impulsively doing it. And that's, that's fine too, but you do that for so long and you'll run out of money and space and then you're stuck. And then I see it again. We're like, what should I get rid of? What should I sell? I got to get rid of stuff now. And that's always a bad proposition because you will probably lose money, when you are forced to sell stuff. So, those are some of my feelings on it, but I guess, do you guys have any rules? Maybe I can play like collection doctor right now with you or something. And my opinion doesn't matter. This is all for fun. So
my rules are horrible because I like Sunbow accurate Gen 1 figures. And you look at that and you're like, well, there's so many animation errors. This version screen accurate, this version screen accurate, this version screen accurate. So ultimately, in my mind, I have an image of what each character should look like. And once I get that representation, I'm happy, I'm sold, and I don't even like think twice about buying another product unless it really just changes my outlook on the character. So, like I said, it's pretty easy. Like most of my collection is behind me, and I'm happy with it.
And you don't, whether it's third party or official, has no bearing.
Not at all. Whatever that character, whichever version of that character looks like what I envision them to be, and is scaled well enough. Like I have a scale in my mind. I'm not saying I follow the Sunbow chart, like because to me, my Blitzwing I like bigger than other characters because of what he turns into. My Astro Train I like a little bigger. Like I would rather buy the 01 Studio Broadside than the MFT upcoming Broadside because he's a masterpiece scaled broadside. He's going to look amazing with Legends once you see, an aircraft carrier and this jet. Like to me, that's a bigger bot. So, I'm nuts. I'm nuts.
Oh, it's a person. Every purchase is a personal decision for you.
Yeah,
it sounds like
every single one.
So that's like I said, that is not simple. That is complicated. Like to like every decision you make, and that's fine. I'm just like trying to like have you like spin your head a little bit to be like, oh yeah, that's not simple.
I'll be honest. I grew up with we have a mutual friend that I grew up with. I've known him since first grade. He brought me back into Transformers in, I'm going to call it third grade, big time. And through him, I got to the point of I need to have every version of every character. I was driving to different states to get variants. Like you name it, I was deep in it. And then I had kids, right? And I'm raising a family, and I was a Series 7 guy. I did stocks, I did mortgages, and the market died, right? So you go from making buku bucks to $0, and you have to pay bills. So
make life decisions.
Yeah, I sold most of my collection off. I made the money that I needed to sustain my family until I found a job that suited me. Fell into engineering, happy, bills are paid, can buy toys again. Once I did that, I had a fresh start point. I didn't need to have everything, right? I wasn't in that mindset of I need every Prowl, I need every Grimlock, I need this. Like, oh, Grimlock has a different shade of red, I need that. Like I had every version of Transmetal Optimus Primal. There was like light blue, dark blue, purple, pink. Like you don't need that. Like now I've realized it. So I fell into Masterpiece, right? That's what hit me. I think Alternators was around that time, and they were so cool because they were a fresh take on Transformers, and they were the cars I could buy. And then
Alternators are the greatest.
Like I love them. I love everything about Alternators.
They need to bring them back.
I don't say that. Through Alternators, I fell into Masterpiece, right? And then Masterpiece, I had literally detolfs around a 20-foot room that, it was just detolf of just Masterpiece figures. And they were getting so crowded. And I didn't know what the hell I was going to do because I still had to get the Gestalts. And I had to get a Unicron that I needed. And, all these things. And then Tim Reagan from the game group sent me the New Age Galvatron. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And then I bought the New Age Cyclonus, and here's this little Cyclonus that's more articulated than the perfect Fans Toys Cyclonus. Like there's ab crunches, and there's double bending elbows, and there's, it's just all these options. And I said, you know what? I think I can sell off my Masterpiece figures. And, then I fell into this Legends thing that I tried. I bought several Chug figures, I'll call them. And I've bought other Masterpieces, and I've tried to see if, has that itch been scratched? And, through trial and error, yeah, that's scratched. I'm Legends through and through, and I couldn't be happier. So that's why it's easier for me to have a little bit of an Endgame. I'm sure there's going to be a new Cyclonus, like Magic Square, I'm sure is going to show us a new Cyclonus that I'm going to have.
Their Cyclonus does suck. I'm a Magic Square guy, but their
Cyclonus is trash. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to be done, but I'm not going to be, I need to buy 10 figures every month. And, I'm not going to be on that spiral. And that's it. So I think I've said enough for now. I want to hear what Jimmy has for his end game, because this guy's going Voltron. This guy's going Soul of Cho'Gath. Like there's so much going on in the world of Jimmy G that I need to know what yours is. Enough
All
about
right. So
Yeah.
if the doctor is in, Lucy, we'll make this happen. So with
So sorry.
not that kind of doctor. Buy me
No,
dinner
I'm
first.
thinking Charlie Brown.
That's it. That's it. So I am. I guess if you were to put me in a psychological thing, I'm a schizophrenic. I'm just a recent toy collector, and so what really got me back into it, like I loved it back when I was a kid. Got out of it, being the cool thing in high school. I grew up, went to a small high school where the thing was football and girls, and so that's what you got into. And if someone came to your house and saw this robot toy, they called you a nerd, so you just kind of threw it all away. Um, but then I, went into, for some people that don't know, I was a minister for like 15 years. And so went into that, went into some other things, got married. And then what got me back into it was when my father passed away. And so as I was beginning to think about things, my very first, because when I was adopted, my very first toy was a G1 Sideswipe. And I was like, you know what? I would love to have that again. I would love to have this toy again. It would be great. It would be awesome. And so I was able to get them, and it kind of started scratching that itch. It kind of reminded me of those good times. So for me, it's a little bit tough because then a year later, I started doing this YouTube thing. Well, not a year, probably about 3 or 4 years. I started collecting. I did the whole in the box thing when the Transformers Earthrise line came out. I was like, oh, I need every Earthrise, and I did. I got every Earthrise one and kept them in the box, and there they
Smart.
were looking at them.
In retrospect, good move.
Yeah, and it was during COVID, so where they didn't. Yeah. So, but then then it was one of those things that I was like, I don't really need these, and so I got again just a little bit off. But right now, if you talk to me, what my collection goals are, there's two parts of me. There's the collector side, and then there's the YouTuber, right? There's the person that wants to review cool toys, but then there's the person that wants to collect stuff for my own personal collection. And so if there's a prime, it has to be a prime that I like. It's not necessarily I got to collect every variant. If I like this Optimus Prime, I'm gonna get it. And it's gonna go in my collection. So like you can see, I have a little bit of a wall of primes here, and there's a little bit over there. The other thing is I was a mainline guy. If I liked a figure, I would get it. I wasn't the kind of guy that was just a loyalist to the only ones I was loyal to is Prime, Sideswipe, Megatron. Those were the ones that I really liked. I didn't mind having multiple versions of. But if there was a figure I liked, like for instance, like a Nova Prime, I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I want that. And so I would get that. I would do a review on it or something like that. And then when I got into the other big toy that I loved is Voltron. I know it's not Transformers, but Voltron as a kid, I had that. I played with that till it was off. So if there's a Voltron toy out there, I'm probably getting it. And I just recently completed one of my grails, was the Voltron 2, the Albagos one, and was able to get all the pieces to that. And that was just the best feeling. The hard part with an Endgame for me is like when you get to a certain point, you go, then now what? Right. And so I'm the kind of guy, like I told you, I don't really have a lot of rules. The rules I have is if I like a prime, I'll get it. If I like a figure, I'll get that one. Right now, I'm really into ones that I've been really into for the past year is the Japanese Transformers Victory, Super God Master Force, those type of things. I am having to go third party for a lot of that. I would love to get vintage on that, but those things are arm and a leg. So, but that's kind of where I'm at as a YouTuber. What I had to do is I had to narrow myself down. I used to be able to do I do all things, but now it's just Transformers, anime, superheroes. Robots, anime, superheroes. I'll do that. Those are my three big things that I collect.
Yep. So my superheroes are limited. I do them, but
I do mainly DC. I've done a little Marvel.
So I'm a fan of Cyclops. He's my favorite X-Man. So I buy almost every Cyclops figure. Green Goblin is my favorite overall Marvel character, the Norman Osborn Green Goblin thing. I love it. So I buy most of those. And then Magneto, who is just the greatest character written in comic books. I like to collect that. And that's my limit on action figures. A couple Godzillas, I need a Ghidorah and I can't wait for Haya to do their Godzilla -1 because that is just the coolest Godzilla design ever.
I think the worst thing that happened to me, like I said, I'm a very ADD, and I've had to put rules on me lately just to help me stay within certain guidelines.
Yep.
Because once I discovered third party, that was
That's a
there was a
horrible
whole new
rabbit hole.
world. It was
Yeah.
a whole new world. Like, I didn't know third party existed. I thought it was just Hasbro for the longest time. And then I was naive enough, and then I saw this. I was like, "What is New Age? What is this, or what is that?" And I finally got one, and I was like, all of a sudden, it was like trying a new drug, and it's and that's a addiction that is a little tough to get over right now. But that's with me. That's how I am with my collection. So I've got to be. That's where I've had to set parameters and rules. Like, hey, just because it's out, I don't need it, right? And I've had to go. I've had to go shiny box. No, I've had to stay away or whatever it may be. But there are certain things that I will pick up, like the Age of the Primes. I will pick up every prime that comes out for that Age of the Primes. I've already determined that. That's what I want. I want all those primes.
Why?
Just
Why?
because I think they look cool. It has prime in the name, and a lot of them has big ass swords. You can ask Billy, if you put a sword in a robot's hand, I'm probably
He's gonna buy
it. And just that's just the way I am.
Well, I think that's a pretty common sentiment right now. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, the primes for the first time." But I like to step back a little bit and be like, "You didn't care about these characters 10 minutes ago, did you?"
Well, I did
Were you
say
sitting there wondering, "I need Prime so bad"?
But where it does fit into mine is, I did say before, I love obscure robots that I really think they look really cool.
Yeah.
So
that Alchemist Prime, we've spoken about it several times, just for that unique design. The face sculpt is just so cool. Now, the only figure I've ordered from that line is Star Convoy, and he scales with these legends. Like, he works with these legends, so he kind of works with the way I function. Now if Collecticon Toys gets it before my pre-order comes in, I'll say, "Hey, Paul, let's figure out how we're going to make this work."
Well, that's a whole other discussion on how that stuff all happens, but that's not what we're here for.
I'm just saying. Now, I do love that you set ground rules for yourself, Jimmy. I think that's wonderful. I think that's.
I'm still young in this. I still am working through things and stuff like that.
Well, that's why this conversation is great for you.
Yeah.
We're not going to solve all the problems of the world right here, but you might, after this conversation, in a week might go by and you'll be like, the calculus on why you buy things might slightly start, changing for better, for worse, because I really think that a lot of people get in over their head really quick.
Oh yeah, I
if
agree.
you guys have these YouTube channels, that's a whole nother impetus on why to buy something.
That's very difficult, Paul,
because you want it. Because when I was on a podcast with the Ensemble Group on TFYLP, it's a great show.
Great show. Sub to them if you're not.
A lot of the people on that show would talk about how, like, wow, I buy a lot more toys now that I'm on the show because I feel like I got to talk about them, and it affects your collecting habits.
It does.
Being part of the social community, blah blah blah. So
yeah.
All I'll say is just you're still. I think you're still you're a malleable. You're raw materials right now. You have a lot of room to kind of like fill in the gaps on what you want to do. So the world's your oyster. That's pretty cool.
That's it.
That's
it. And one of the things that I've had to learn,
crap that we don't need.
Well, one of the things as a YouTuber, you have to learn very quick. If some people that are YouTubers and want to be toy tubers and stuff like that, you cannot take the suggestions of your audience, because they will tell you to buy every toy that maybe you don't like, and they say, "I want you to review this. I want you to review that. I want you to review this." And I early on in my YouTube career said, "No, I will not do that. I will only buy things that I actually kind of like." So Dr. Phil,
so
listen, you're kind of crazy.
Paul's the most honest guy you're going to speak to.
True.
He will not hold back. He will tell you how he feels, and honestly, I appreciate the bluntness. I think what really
I think there needs to be more of that in the world. I think we kind of kowtow around people.
yeah, it's what drew me to talking to him. I was like, this guy's great. He just says it, and I respect it and I love it.
There was something, oh, man, I wanted to say something about what were you just talking about though before the Dr. Phil thing?
YouTubers buying toys.
Yeah. That was it. You know, I agree with you. You shouldn't. You got to play to like the favorites a little bit and like the trends, right? But if you stick to what you care about, you will ultimately, over time, it might be slow, but you'll attract the people that gravitate towards you. That's part of being a reviewer, right? Not everyone, like back in the day when people did just movie reviews in the newspaper, like they're not supposed to like everything. They're just supposed to be consistent with how they feel, and that's what you base your thoughts on against. If someone's like, I saw Event Horizon, it was the worst movie of all time, but you love horror, you'd be like, oh, that chick in the paper always hates horror movies and they're always awesome. I know I'm gonna love that. So let's go. That's really what a viewer is supposed to stick to their guns.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I say do it.
Well, that's exactly why I made the channel. You know, obviously I've changed my name, but everybody knows who I was before this. I was so sick and tired of people like getting figures given to them or here you go and give it a good review because somebody's telling them to say it. Like that drives me bonkers. If something's trash, I'm going to tell you it's trash. Like that's it. And I'd rather lose subs or have people say I suck. But like, you know, if I'm spending money, which is not easy to come by anymore, like why on earth am I going to spend money and tell people to spend money on something that's not worth their hard-earned time?
Yeah, and I'm like the way I do it is I want you to feel the nostalgia or the joy of seeing it for the first time, and that's why I buy only what I like that will give me that feeling, that dopamine or that drug. You know that this thing is awesome. Like Mecha Godzilla, it's so cool. It has sounds and toys and all that kind of things, and there's been few toys that I'm like, this is horrible and this is crap. And I will tell you, there's certain things wrong, but overall, it should be the feeling you get. And I agree. And as a YouTuber, I would say this to people: if you can have your passion show through, it doesn't matter what you review. Passion is contagious. People will watch it just because I've had people say, I watch you, I have no clue what you're talking about, but you seem like you enjoy doing it. So, and that's what people want to see, is they want to see that joy and they want to see that happiness. And I think that's what collecting does. And if you don't watch out, that can be an overdose too, as well, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to let you guys talk for a minute. I'm going to go through the chat because I believe there were a few people in here that brought up their collecting and what they're going to be doing. And since this is what the show is on, I'd like to just share their opinions and see what maybe anybody else here.
And if anyone has any questions for Paul, or if you want to say something about your collection, let's bring it on.
Speaking of Paul, somebody was saying they're trying to get the Transformers 1 figures because they can't find them. And I believe on your Instagram that you've been recently updating, I saw some Transformers 1 figures. So,
well, like which one? I think I have pretty much everything, but a lot of that stuff, if you go to Walmart right now, they're clearancing out tons of stuff. I mean, it is insane.
That time of year.
It is just insane. And that's because this stuff is starting to show up right now.
Yeah, I got to get a Studio Series. I think it's the Voyager Sentinel Prime. My son wants them.
I think that's coming out. Yeah, it's the wave right now. And FYI, not a lot of people know this, but the Voyagers have notoriously for the past almost 10 years been coming in cases of 3. And they're almost always 2 in 1. So something short packed. It's 2 of one figure and 1 of another. But that wave is 3 new Voyagers.
Oh, it's all 3 are individual?
Scrapper, Gamer Ironhide, and that Sentinel Prime. So
really,
I don't know what that's going to do to the breakdown because it's even now. It's like the deluxes where there's 2, 2, 2, 2. It's 1, 1, 1. I don't know why they're doing 3 per case. It's always baffled me because why would you do an odd number? But it has to do with what the case costs are.
So I'm going to jump in now with some of these comments. Darkonin actually came across like you, Paul. If you need to have a collection, or you need to have a collection focus, or you'll spend money you don't need to spend and sell stuff you don't want to sell. I mean, that's verbatim what you said almost.
100%. And I see it all the time. And it's usually with new collectors, and they burn out. They like, you can see it with the individual person. They buy everything.
Yep.
And then suddenly they're selling it for pennies on the dollar, and you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be selling stuff for pennies on the dollar. I mean, for me as a store owner, sure, like sell it to me for pennies on the dollar, but like I still don't like to see that happen, especially to a new young collector. It's I don't like seeing people like burning themselves out in the hobby because it's easy to do, and
Very.
because it's Transformers is an overwhelming, like just dam breaking for some people, and you're just
and that's just one aspect of the hobby.
It can be worse than
Transformers
Pokemon.
is so small, but yet there's so much in that can just break the wallet.
Joe Doe here says that they resell to pay for their collections. I mean, I think that's pretty cool because you can play with the figures, you can experience the figures. Now you're going to sell them off and play with new figures, clear out space, and have some money. I dig that. I think that's good.
It's a no-brainer. It's late-stage transformerism, as I like to call it. So, I mean, here I am. You know, I run a toy store now, and there's more toy stores now than like any time on Earth. You know, and I'm talking like resale shops or like vintage shops. These are our generation's antique store.
Yeah,
you know?
like our mutual friend. I'll send him toys in our area. And he'll be like, thanks, but they're a store. They didn't mention that they were a store in their listings, you know. Zane Bono, there is no Endgame. Just evolution in my collector's vocabulary. Autocorrect Primer agrees there is no Endgame. So,
here's what I have to say to that. Like, there's an Endgame in my eyes, but I don't think I'll ever get there. And that's okay. Like, you don't have... If you get to the end, then yeah, that's like a weird, you just stepped off the cliff and like you're floating, right? Like if you have every version of Optimus Prime and then Hasbro said, guess what? We're not making toys ever again. We're done. No more Optimus Primes. You have a complete collection. Now what? You know, that's not great. So
that's the same thing Ariel asked in her song.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
I just listened to that today, believe it or not, in the car with my...
I mean, I could do the whole song if you want. You know,
well, that's what I guess the point I'm getting at is like when you do kind of start devising your collector goals, if you shoot too low, you'll know it because you'll be done like really quick and be like, oh, and then guess what? You won't be satisfied. You will then expand your horizons a bit, you know. But like with the Starscreams. So I want all the stars. If it basically says Starscream on the box, I want it. And if it's memorabilia, I probably want it. If it's a third-party version of a Starscream, I might get it. I might not always, but if it's a Chilean variant of G1 Starscream, oh, that's coming. I gotta get that, and I gotta get it in the box. And there might only be one in existence. And I said Chilean because I wanted to make something up. I didn't want to like say something real, but like those, I'm at that late stage of a Transformers maximalist as well, whatever you want to call it, where like there's a typo on the box, so it's unique. It's a special thing. I need that, and that is like. I do not recommend that level to the average person, but like you have to once you have all the stuff that you said you need, again, you try to see if you can expand your levels, and there is a limit, you know, but if you expand it to like the sweet spot, you will probably never get it all because it's either the figures are $10,000, you know, and like most people aren't going to.
I'm not doing that.
No. That's the only reason you do that is because it's the last thing you need. You know what I mean? And you're done after that. And you've been looking for this thing for 20 years. Like if you just stumbled upon an ATB Megatron and you've never paid over $100 for a toy, there's no way in hell you should be spending $5,000 on an unreleased toy. That's silly. You need to like build up to that. And you know, you can do that in a variety of ways. You can either go third party or try to complete a whole line or a subset, like complete a great goal. So for some people, like starting out, get Menasor, you know, build Menasor.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard because you either get the gift set, and I'm talking about legacy Menasor, or you have to find a G1, the white breakdown. That's, you know, that's more expensive than
that's a dodo right there.
That breakdown alone changes your whole idea of completing a set.
Yeah, that's in Fort Knox. That's what's keeping our currency alive right now.
Well, so you know that was supposed to be. They were gonna They had a run of that, a second run that's supposed to come out this year, and they're just like, never mind.
It's crazy.
So that sucks.
I agree. I'm sorry, I'm just going through all these chats and trying to see. JM Toys, they stated, I'm entering the almost done phase of collecting. I have all the grails I wanted. So there's these grail talks. Hunts were fun. There's nothing new under the sun. I love the Transformers community, but I'm close to finished. So I can't hunt in my area. Nothing makes it to the shelves. We have like a scalper circuit that literally runs the Targets and the Walmarts in my general area. If you go at 8 a.m. and wait for them to open at 8:30,
Same here.
it's
Same here.
guys that wait at the front door. One hits Hot Wheels, one hits Transformers, one hits Legends, one hits wrestling, and they just grab every figure that would be one per case or whatever it may be, and you just don't get it. So, there's no more hunting, and I love the hunt. Like, I would love going toy hunting with my friend Nick. Like, there was nothing like it. So that's it. Ultra Megatron. Sorry,
But that one that you said right there, I would, and I think Paul would agree. I disagree. I don't think you'll be done. I don't think
I'm hoping to live vicariously through my son. Like, I and then obviously the channel goes, but like,
there's always going to be something. There will always be something.
I get that, but we're like, okay. The other thing that's hitting my collecting is we're in a very tough economy right now, right? I live in a very expensive state to live in. I've got a family of 5 that I support. Do I really want to go and drop $30 on a deluxe figure, and complete that whole lineup when I have a very good, valid representation of that character? It's these times. Nothing's coming down. Hasbro's saying the tariffs coming in from China, they're going to have to raise their prices again by 10%, I think it was. But aren't those figures made? I'm sorry. I just don't see wanting to go out and spend that kind of money. And I don't want to have to
I'm just saying
figures that I don't know what the quality is going to be like because I can't find them on the shelf.
Your collecting will slow down, but you will never be done. I just don't think you would.
No, because this guy in the top right corner is going to send me a picture of something really shiny, and I'm going to say, okay,
So I wish you had that comment back up because there was something about it that I really wanted to touch on. It was
which one was it?
The one we're discussing. I think it was Darkonin
no, it was the one that got his grails.
Got his grails. There's nothing new coming out, and I'm like,
yes,
what? There's always something new coming out. A lot of people are like, oh, I have the best Optimus Prime ever. I mean, how many times have they said that? And then there's a new one. I
said that in my 86 Studio Series Prime review. At Toy Fair 4 years ago, they said that the Earthrise Prime is the last Prime you're going to need to buy. It's the best. It's the most accurate. And what happens? Out comes 86 Prime.
I mean, how many times has that happened with Optimus Prime himself? You guys around for there's MP1. That was incredible. I was there for that. That was the coolest thing of all time when it happened. And then there was Classics Prime, and everyone's like, "Where's the trailer?" And they made MP10, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, we're done. Never again." Then the third party Optimus has come out. Oh God, it's better than Hasbro.
MP44
blows them all away. And MP44. The reason that's good is the trailer. I don't know if you guys have fucked around with. Sorry,
trailer's amazing.
The trailer is like the coolest thing about it, and no one ever talks about it. And all the re-releases don't have it. So.
Yep.
And then we got 86.
Wait till Fans Toys Optimus Prime comes out.
I'm carrying that one, so I believe in it.
Thanks, I did find that quote, by the way, and that was JMJ Toys.
There's nothing new under the sun. I just think that you're going to eat those words, like everyone does in the end. There's always something I've heard people talk about restarting their G1 collection for the 3rd time. Like they've got it all, sold it, got it all again, sold it. Almost like,
I did that twice with Gen 1. Because, I was in high school making money when eBay came around. And it was like, I can get every Transformer. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm bringing in all this crap. And I had them, and then I'd sell them. And then it was like, oh, I have a Mint Box Optimus Prime. I have a Mint Box Ultra Magnus. it became too much. I'll never do that. I need the Gen 1 figures ever again. I've had my fun with them. That's
well,
it.
but
Missing Link doesn't
here
do
comes
it.
Missing Link, baby. That is the coolest Transformer.
It is.
That is going to be like the masterpiece. The masterpiece line is going to fall off, and
Absolutely
the Missing Link line is going to replace it. And
yeah, I agree with you.
Watching it happen in real time with the MPG change and like the lackluster releases coming out of that. And, I hate to dog Takara like on that, but like they let the third party destroy their market, and now we're seeing the results of that. But the Missing Link toys are going to be that's what people want, and that's what they're going to want in the future. They're going to go back and be like, oh my God, you have Missing Link Optimus Prime.
Wait till they do Megatron. Wait till they do Megatron.
DO1, baby. It's coming. Don't worry.
It's totally coming. Starscream is going to be amazing. You're going to have to get every variant of that when they do the toy deco.
Soundwave.
Deco.
Hot Rod.
Deco. Yeah, I'll buy the Hot Rod, and I'll buy the Rodimus Prime. But that doesn't mean that I have to have every character.
No, but if you've ever been like, I just want the sealed G1 toys, because like there's a real big magnetic draw to that for a lot of dudes like us. Okay,
yeah.
Those are trophies at this point.
I've had them, so I don't have that itch.
But now you can start from the ground up.
Thoroughly,
and you can put a divider between whatever came before Missing Link, and start fresh with that stuff.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
A lot of people are figuring that out a little slower than they wish they would when it happens, but there's going to be a flip, and that's what people are going to want.
There's two comments I want to hit up real quick. Ultra Megatronus states, the hardest thing about being a collector is having a spouse that's also a collector. Room to put stuff around goes very fast. I personally don't have that issue. My wife collects American Girl dolls. So she's got, I think, 26. She has every American Girl doll, like, period. And even when we were dating, like when she first met me, my room was full paintings. The walls were painted in Transformers. Like the whole room was a Transformers battle, right? One quarter of the house was Gen 1, one quarter of the room was Beast Wars. And then in between that I worked at Toys R Us, so I had all the giant plastic display cases that they would get rid of. I'd take them, and they were full of Transformers and G.I. Joes and WWF figures. So I met someone that was already supportive and knew what it was all about beforehand. So it's hard for me to understand someone says that they don't have a supportive spouse in their collecting habits, because isn't that something you would have spoken about before being married? I'm sorry, and Ultra Megatronus, I'm a big fan of yours. I just don't. That question doesn't resonate with me. I'm sorry. What do you guys think?
It doesn't. My wife's not a collector.
Okay.
So I get to have all that good stuff. So
neither is mine, but I know everyone's mileage may vary. I don't want to make a blanket statement about that, but I do agree with you. Like, yeah, if you haven't had these discussions like prior to getting married, maybe you guys need to sit down and talk about it. Just a suggestion, a little Dr. Phil coming out there.
Yeah, no, I get that. Hold on one second. There's my property taxes are probably more than Jimmy G's mortgage each month. I'm sorry, we're in totally different states, but yeah.
It probably is. Knoxville's a pretty cheap place to live.
And then New York, Hunter. I don't think Missing Link is overpriced at all. If you get them, like I get mine from showzstore.com. I use the code BTK, and they're very affordable. Like I have not found them to be overpriced, especially for what we're getting.
Yeah. I would agree.
I wouldn't be at, some of the other retailers. And then, by the way, my buddy got to me that Abominus is masterpiece scaled.
Okay.
I'm going to let Paul hear that in a second.
And that's why you collect everything you can get. Oh, wait. Oh, hey, Paul. Welcome back.
That Abominus is masterpiece scaled, bud.
Okay.
which makes sense for all the details you were pointing out. Is that missing link Bumblebee?
Yeah, really. Are they
Love 'em.
expensive? Yes, they are. I'll admit that they are. But like when you get these
Thanks,
in
bud.
hand, the build quality is very, very good.
Yep.
Like that's where the money goes. They like put the time into the QA of these toys.
I like if the engineering's worth it, the price isn't my problem. You know, like I'm a Transformers fan because of the engineering. I'm not a car guy. I don't care. I couldn't tell you the name of half the cars on the road today. But the engineering of getting that car into a working robot that is believable is what sells me on Transformers. It's why
I think what I loved about Missing Link, though, is when I transformed it, just like you just did, Paul, how easy that was. It reminded me of how cool that was the very first time I transformed a Bumblebee. But this one, actually, I could put in cool poses. I was like, there's no way this transforms the same way. And it does. And it's awesome.
There's just sometimes I see photos of this thing. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. And it looked dumb. Like this was a ballsy release for the second Missing Link figure.
Very ballsy. I thought we were going to get Starscream. I really did.
I mean, they still haven't done a Decepticon, you know?
Or at least Soundwave, who would be such an easy upgrade. What is it, like hip joints and we're done?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the RC is cool. That got a lot of people excited about Missing Link.
Yep. I think that is going to be the switch that brings people
in. Do you think they would make a Missing Link Unicron of that prototype?
Okay, so that's what everyone goes after the RC happened. And I'm like, listen, maybe in 10 years, like just because really that is a dumpy ass toy. Okay.
It is.
That Unicron is dumpy. That thing you have behind you, Billy, is incredible.
Yep.
And we don't like, there's just not really a place for that piece of crap old toy. There's a reason they didn't make it. All right.
There's a big reason they didn't make it. I feel like that, if it's ever going to see the light of day, is going to be like one of the last hurrahs for HasLab.
Potentially. And that's fine. Like, I'm not like, I won't be upset if they make it. I will definitely get it because it's
got my little dumpy guy right here.
Yeah. See, that's all you need. That's all we all need of that. Toy. Is that
all you need? I wish it was a little bigger, but other than that, it's great.
So I didn't pick that up. It never like made it to the shelves here, and I'm I'm not a fan of that company, so I don't trust buying it online because I know I'm going to get the one with the paint splotch on the face, and it's going to drive me bonkers.
Well, I got a couple of them I can look through if you really want.
We'll talk about that at a later date then, because it would be cool to have, like, speaking of collecting, I've got the Hot Wheels Optimus and Bumblebee here. Like, I'm not a Hot Wheels guy, but I felt like these were too cool to not grab. So if I grabbed that Unicron, he'd stay on the card and he'd go right there.
Yeah, those Hot Wheels Transformers, they got to keep making those because
that's the best of both worlds.
They just need to not make it so crazy to get.
It's so hard to find them though. Really, like the Ultra Magnus wave is all over my area. No Ultra Magnus on the shelf. Period.
Well, because everyone got smart and started ripping off Target to get them.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, I'm going to order 500 of these off Target.com and return 499 of them. Like, okay, that just puts you on a list. But if you like being on lists, like, have fun.
Yeah. Well, I figured with Prime, like that Optimus Prime, like I said, I'm not a big Hot Wheels guy, but I like trucks. You're right. My favorite movie is Maximum Overdrive. I love trucks. Okay. There are no like 1/64 scale normal trucks out there. So even if you're not a Transformers guy, you're going to see this truck on the shelf and you're going to grab it for your 1/64 Hot Wheels collection. And you can use a little bit of acetone and get the Autobot logos off and you've got a nice, cab over. So I understand that, like, that's something that's desirable. There should have been more in the wave in regards to that figure. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the Optimus they released in solid cases, so that was like they had their.
Not by me.
Well, I saw them at Target and Walmart, but I mean, even at, I got to remember I'm coming from a retailer perspective, so I have like access to different things.
Yep.
So like I think it was unusual, but they had just that one toy, that one Track Fleet Optimus you could buy in solid cases. Where like the Magnus, no, it's just the one per six.
So
One in every case of 6.
My Targets and Walmarts, all they had was one Optimus and then the other trucks from the waves. Period.
So they
I didn't even have that. Mine didn't even have that.
Well, Target sold it. Target received solids, and I'm pretty sure Walmart did too, because I saw a sheet of them on those Transformers 1 displays only one time, but I saw they were like hanging off the big PDQ at the Walmarts.
See, I wish, because I had to get mine off Amazon and they shipped it in a damn bubble mailer and it's all bent up, which is the worst.
Hate that.
Big M says Hot Wheel guys are psychopaths. So
They are.
When I worked at Toys R Us, man, we had the Hot Wheels guys that would literally cut open the pallets as we were pulling them out for the night crew and going through each individual car. And you're like, what are you doing, guy? It's just mind blowing.
So I bought some cases of the regular Hot Wheels to get the Bumblebee because I knew it was going to be hard. And I'm like, well, let me just try this.
Yeah.
And man, I do not like that. Like I got like 6 Bumblebees out of 3 cases of Hot Wheels. I have like 450 Hot Wheels that are pretty, as far as I know, they're worth less than what I paid for them.
So that'll be one table at TFCon is a full table of Hot Wheels.
Just count Hot Wheels. Just take the
free
damn
Hot Wheel
thing.
with every purchase.
That's a good way to get rid of those. So the only reason I found Bumblebee was Nick posted, I went to ShopRite today and the Bumblebee was on the shelf. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to my ShopRite because he lives in like a town over. So we have 2 different ShopRites. And lo and behold, I found the regular color Bumblebee, not the gold one. And I said, this is good enough. I'm fine. He found the gold variant. I found the Toon variant. I'm happy. We're good.
Well, when I was in the UK for TF Nation this year, they were selling like a different card back one of that.
Really?
Like a shorty.
Did you tell him that?
Size. I didn't end up coming across one, or I don't know. Didn't have my game face on, but like I just remember being like, whoa, that's not the normal Bumblebee, But so there's lots of variants out there, packaging variants.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
And the new Optimus, the single Optimus without the trailer, completely different mold. Completely
I know
different mold than the other
it's got Optimus's face molded underneath it. What did you guys collect before us? Coins, stamps, model trains, or dust? So before Transformers, I was into the Kenner Aliens line. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Send in the Marines, like done. Then they brought in Predators, and it was over. So I feel like that's something that maybe when I'm done with Transformers, I might have to fill a Detolf with the Wave 1 of the Aliens Kenner figure.
There you go. Mine's always been Transformers, but it's been my parents couldn't afford them, so it was those the old KOs, like the Transmisformers or whatever they were. I don't remember what they were, but it was like, here, this is that Dinobot you wanted. And I was like, it's green and it's hollow and it just like is horrible and it's not.
Why does it look like a Harryhausen design? Like,
well, and now that KO is somebody's holy grail.
Right? Yes. Yeah, that is. It's like I remember having that. My parents couldn't afford anything, and that's what they got me.
Prehistory robot. Yeah.
Our dads in that generation before Gen X collecting. So my dad, God rest his soul,
baseball cards and football.
Right, my dad's passed, but his life was baseball. My dad was actually going to be a Yankee. He was training with Don Mattingly. Like he made it. He was on the team and he blew his knee out and had to get reconstructive surgery and was cut from the Yankees. So his life was baseball. When he saw that his son was buying Aliens and Predator toys, it was, well, maybe you want to do theater like your uncle,
He was like, I love
my dad.
That boy ain't right.
My dad was the greatest man on the planet. It was more humorous than bringing me down. But my dad was not a collector of any sort.
Mine wasn't either. But I have a feeling if you were to talk to someone, baseball cards, that kind of stuff, probably.
My father-in-law was a collector of Universal Monsters. So he had like all the vintage 60s Universal Monsters model kits. And he had a Beatles collection, like the White Album sealed, and just like, so those collectors back then, it was really what they were into. So it was records. It was, he had the Sergeant Pepper's outfits hanging on the walls. All these things were washed away in Hurricane Sandy, unfortunately. We were on 2nd Street in a beach town, and out they went, which is tragic in itself. But yeah, my father-in-law was a huge collector. And when he saw that I did it, it was like, he loved it. And then he started finding like the McFarlane Universal Monsters and all these other things.
My mom still buys you.
Yeah, and my mother-in-law still buys me Transformers for every birthday and Christmas. Like, so, but no, my dad was the man. My father-in-law was amazing. That past generation, here's autocorrect primer. My dad collected guns, that's the true definition of stay off my lawn, but that's that. Either way, I mean, I think that there is a future for everybody in collecting. And
just like Paul said, Bayverse is right around the corner, my friend.
Bayverse, which is great for me because I'm not into those designs, especially when they get to like the last night where they don't even look like, they could even turn into a vehicle.
I just want a Mark Wahlberg figure.
That's what I do. I'm a collector.
Well, like those Age of Extinction transformations where they turn into like cubes, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the babies. That's their pretenders. Like how do they got to do that someday? They got to make it so that works somehow. Like how do you solve that visual problem?
Robosin is going
to We still don't have hoverboards. Come on.
Right. No, Robosin is going to work with Musk and they will figure it out. That's what's going to happen.
Well, I'll just real quick to chime in. My dad collects. My dad's still with me. He actually he helped me move my warehouse recently. So he's learning more and more about the robots, but not that he has to, but he collected Lionel trains.
I love that.
Or maybe it was O-Gauge. I don't know. He had a little area in the basement for a while, for about 15 years. That was
so you get the train table thing.
I do. I definitely do. And I don't know if you've ever been to a train meetup or a train convention. It's, there's definitely an age difference, and like Transformers seems like it is continuing to widen that age range where like some fandoms are stuck in this end and it just keeps pushing out and it never refills. Like, the ammo is spent, and when the train guys die, the train thing dies. But with Transformers, we're still going, man. We still got a lot of room to grow. And that's why you should not poo-poo the kid shows or the kid toy lines.
Oh, no. We just did a whole show on the upcoming toy line for the kids. I think that is Hasbro at its finest. Like they're
Cyberverse,
simple transformations. They're bringing back original designs. I think that's great. I would totally get the whole first and second wave for my son because I know he's going to love them. I think that is great, and I would never poo-poo on that. Period.
Well, I'm not saying you guys, okay? When I'm saying these things, like I'm talking about the general percolated fan contention that I hear. But like, they got to keep taking shots, new shots at a new fandom. Something's going to hit. Yeah. I really think they need to drastically pivot for the younger crowd.
I think we need a whole new generation of Transformers. We haven't had that with new characters, new designs, and that's where I applaud this new line. Like Mirage is a jet. A kid's gonna love a jet Mirage.
I might go so far as to be like, fuck Mirage. Like, do we need Autobots and Decepticons? Can they do they need to be from Cybertron? Obviously, these are like the core principles of the brand. But when I'm talking about dramatically changing things, what if like the Transformers were made on Earth, like invented? Like really change the script and maybe start pulling in some elements,
Yeah.
It's probably a really bad idea, but I guess I'd like to see something.
It's a really fresh take. I personally want like a 1960s take. Like show me those old vintage cars. Like what would happen if the Transformers landed here in the 50s or 60s and you have like those old awesome like designs of those. I don't know, those vintage cars. That'd be so badass. I would buy that. I would.
Yeah, I would. But again, I would agree with Paul. They've got to do something because this is a morbid thought. We are going to die, and if they continue to cater to our fan base, that's going to dry up.
Well, yeah, and they got to always, transform. People say like, "Oh, quit G1." I'm like, that's what Transformers is. Bayverse is G1. Like they haven't deviated from it really ever.
No,
The core
same
concept,
core characters, same core concept. It is G1. You're absolutely right.
It's when G1 as a era, I get, but like it's all just Transformers.
That concept is the same. I mean, Bayverse #1 is literally, young boy meets robot, young boy befriends robot, young boy helps robot defeat the bad guy robots. Like it's it.
Yeah.
You just described every Japanese robot show.
Well, I didn't draw in like huge anime boobies either, though.
Gal Gaigar, young boy meets robot, all sorts of stuff.
Ultra Megatronus, have a good night. We're going to be wrapping it up soon as well. We usually call it at 11. We're a little bit past, but
this has been great dialogue.
Yeah, it's been good. The chat's been on fire.
Yeah,
Paul's
lots of comments. This is great. Thank you. That's cool to see.
And we may have to do a part 2 to this and see what happens. So
that's if he wants to come back. He might be like, F those guys.
Well, I think we need to put some time in that, and then Jimmy, you need to kind of come back and be like, all right, we had that discussion. I changed nothing, or I actually made
screw you guys. I bought more.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be cool if something resonated and like positively, for you or anyone else listening. You don't have to listen to anything we said. It's just these are all just suggestions from.
Yeah, and I think the overall arching theme is you've got to have rules.
Yeah,
you've got to put those on yourself.
I was going to say, I think Paul really hit a lot of notes tonight in regards to setting your rules and boundaries. I do like the concept of character collecting. If there's that one character that just speaks to you, buy that. And if you're happy with the rest because you got something to fiddle with, then we're good. Like for me, I feel like Hasbro's never given us like a definitive Galvatron. Like Kingdom Galvatron and 86 Galvatron is a good figure, but there's just aspects of it that just don't feel right to me. I would love a killer Galvatron. Their Kingdom Cyclonus minus the face sculpt is perfect. I love the Kingdom Cyclonus.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a masterpiece toy that they didn't need to license. I just don't know why they haven't.
Are we talking Cliff Jumper here?
What? Oh, yeah, maybe.
My problem with Masterpiece, and I was going to bring this up earlier when you brought up the MPG or whatever the hell line that is. They stated they weren't going to change the scale, right? That's what they're doing. They're not changing the scale. Everything's going to be right. But there's already the leaks that they're doing a new Optimus Prime, right? So there's an Optimus Prime version 4 or 5 coming out. Damn well he's going to be smaller and a whole new scale that the new figures are going to line up with. There's no possible way it's not, unless they surprise us and it's like Rid or Galaxy Force or something like that. But I highly doubt it. It's going to be Gen 1 Prime. They're going to.
Well, I mean, that would be absolutely hilarious if they released Fire Convoy in MPG right after they do the HasLab.
Yeah.
That would just be like, what are you thinking? Oh boy,
God only knows. But all right, it's 11:20. It's past my bedtime.
Can I pimp one thing though?
Pimp. Let's make him big.
So for all you Megatron collectors listening, you won't have this one unless you go to DairyCon 2025, baby.
I love that. I think that
looks cool.
Yeah. This is a custom. This is
Man, I wish I was going to DairyCon. I'd love
Are you going to show us out of the box?
Well, this is the prototype, so let's not get too crazy. But this is an exclusive. I haven't posted this anywhere.
That looks awesome.
You've seen that here first on the Forge, guys.
Safety Megatron.
I think that's great.
That looks off. If a couple of those fall off a truck and happen to make it our way, we won't say.
If a couple of those fall off the truck, then there's none left to sell.
So DairyCon is not the biggest convention in the world.
It's just the greatest.
Yeah, it's just the greatest. That's what I've been told. So, but yeah, Paul, I want to say you've been a fantastic guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys, this has been a ton of fun for me. So you guys did great. Thanks for having me. And I loved it. Thanks for all
John Walker, DairyCon.
listeners.
I'll be there on Saturday. So if you're going to be there, you got to go and you got to say hi to Paul.
Well, there's only Saturday, so that's good that you're coming Saturday. It's not a multi-day show. Unless you're a dealer, there's a Friday, sort of. But
Jonathan Walker, bring the Johnny Walker, and we'll have some good times.
Yeah.
So it's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully you'd want to come back again and maybe hit up round 2 of this. Maybe before TFCon, we can get the TFCon discussion going.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I'll be on all my just another pimp. My social things, it's just Collecticon across the board at Collecticon on everything.
We're streaming them right at the bottom right now.
Cool. Thank you.
And then, but yeah, hopefully, we're going to be probably doing some lives from TFCon. So hopefully you can hop in if you get it.
If I'm not busy, yeah,
absolutely.
But hopefully, if you are busy, we know you're making money, so that's good.
Well, my hope is to actually I kind of want to just have a live stream going the whole time the booth is open, like from behind, like from the vantage point of the booth. I did a little bit of that on TikTok in Baltimore, so you can actually hear some of the discussions with the purchasers and stuff. And that's my favorite part, man, is just talking to people and like the haggling, like good. I love good haggling. If you're just like, I want this for $2, like you're going to get roasted, but like, I like having the real discussions with people, so come up and say hi. I don't bite. So
I think that's great. By the way, Ryan says hello. He was confirming that information for me. So Ryan says hi.
Our good friend.
All right. Well, awesome, guys. Well, thank you again, Paul, Billy. I'll see you next Saturday. We'll have another show, The Forge. In the meantime, be on the lookout for Billy the Kid's toy reviews. His reviews coming out. Mine, the GBA, Good, Bad, Awesome. And then go to CollecticonToys.com or at Collecticon and see what all Paul has. And I'm sure you may find something you really like.
I think there were some people actually in the chat saying they were at the store and finding items already.
Hopefully they didn't find any of the higher price things. So
I don't know. What's our kickback on that? No, I'm just joking.
I don't know. I am going to be doing a sale though, since I've moved. I meant to do a moving sale and it's a little.
I love that.
Yeah. Moving, so. Do you have like a beaded curtain website? Hey, here behind the beaded curtain.
I have tried that actually. It's just not worth it. I do deals for people on the side, like that's how I do it. So
there we go.
That's it, man. But either way, guys, make sure you check out Collecticon Toys. Paul is an excellent guy. Very fun to talk to. Very personable. So enjoy and bye. But as always, thank you guys so much. Make sure you subscribe to Jimmy G. Make sure you subscribe to me. And thank you. And we will see you next Sunday. Look at that Starscream in Grimlock colors. That's awesome.
That is so friggin' awesome.
This is actually on a panel of comics in the UK.
I love that. You got to get Frank to voice that for you.
Yeah.
That'd
be great.
So, but either way, thank you so much. Everybody have a good night. I think we're going to be ending this stream in a few.
You got to do the Naked Gun thing where you freeze, but